always thought Ethan and I were that couple everyone looked at and just knew we belonged together. We weren't flawless, but we were solid, like a favorite cozy sweater that always feels right. I adored that about us. I loved how he'd give my hand 2 quick squeezes while we were driving, his silent way of saying, "I've got you." I loved our random trips to the supermarket and the silly 2 a.m. instant noodle cooking sessions. For the longest time, I was sure nothing from the outside could ever break what we had. I was dead wrong. The person who slid right into the middle of us was Mia, Ethan's best friend since they were kids. The type of girl who could roll out of bed looking like she just stepped off a magazine cover. Everyone called her pure sunshine, until they got too close and realized she scorched anyone who dared dim her glow. First, I didn't mind her. I actually tried to be friends. But Mia had this quiet way of acting like I was temporarily parked in a spot that was already reserved for her. Every time I entered a room, she'd pause whatever story she was telling, drop her voice, and shoot Ethan this look, like she was daring him to pick a team. I still trusted Ethan. I trusted us. Then one night, everything fell apart. Ethan showed up at my place looking like he hadn't slept in days. He wouldn't meet my eyes, just sat on the couch twisting his keyring like he could squeeze bravery out of it. "Sarah, we have to talk," he said. My heart instantly sank. Nobody ever starts a happy conversation like that. He told me he'd been feeling like something was off between us, that maybe we weren't as compatible as he needed. Then came the gut punch. It wasn't completely his idea. Mia had apparently sat him down and laid it all out. He took a shaky breath and repeated her words like he'd memorized them. "She said you might be a walking red flag. That you're too emotional, you get attached way too fast, you overthink everything." It felt like someone else was speaking through him. Someone who'd never seen me stay up late rubbing his back when work crushed him, or text him reminders to eat when he forgot, or rearrange my whole weekend just so he could breathe. "I've known her my whole life, Sarah," he mumbled, almost like he felt bad saying it. "Maybe she sees something I've missed." I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just looked at him while something inside me quietly crumpled. He left with a stiff, awkward hug, like he was consoling someone he barely knew. 2 years gone because another person told him to let go. The next morning I woke up with that empty ache everyone warns you about. The kind that only hits when the apartment is dead silent, and there's nowhere left to hide from it. I replayed every moment, every red flag I'd ignored, every time I told myself I was overreacting. But heartbreak is weirdly good at clearing the fog. And one truth floated to the surface loud and clear. If someone can drop you just because somebody else told them to, they were never truly yours to begin with. So I turned inward. I picked my journal back up. I started running again. I spent long evenings with my cousin Jordan, who looked me dead in the eye and said, "Anyone who chooses gossip over real connection was never your person." Weeks blurred into a month and I actually started feeling like myself again. Then out of nowhere Ethan texted, "Can we talk? Please." I stared at the message like it was from another lifetime. He kept texting, calling, leaving shaky voicemails that sounded like he'd been crying. Eventually I agreed to meet him, mostly because I needed to hear whatever excuse he'd practiced. When he walked into the coffee shop he looked wrecked. Hair messy, shirt wrinkled, eyes bloodshot. "Sarah," he started, voice already breaking. "I screwed up. The biggest screw-up of my life." He spilled everything. How Mia finally admitted she'd been jealous the whole time. How she didn't want anyone stealing him. How she'd played the concerned best friend card to poison him against me. How he woke up one day and realized he'd let her drive our entire relationship off a cliff. "I never should have listened to her," he whispered. "I want you back. I'll do anything." But he didn't know I'd brought something with me. Something I poured my heart into during all those nights of putting myself back together. Something that was going to hit him harder than any argument ever could. I reached into my bag and set a small cream envelope on the table, sealed with a simple gold sticker. He stared at it like it might explode. "What's this?" "A little something I made for you," I said, perfectly calm. He opened it with shaky fingers. Inside were 17 handwritten pages. Not love letters. Not hate letters. Just raw, honest truth I'd never said out loud. The first page was titled "Things I Carried Quietly." I watched his shoulders stiffen as he read about every moment I'd swallowed my hurt. Holding him when he thought his career was over, defending him when friends teased him, rearranging my life so he could have peace, pretending his closeness with Mia didn't sting. Every tiny act of love I never pointed out because I didn't do them for credit. Every page ended the same way. I did this because I believed in us. He was blinking fast, jaw trembling. But it was page 17 that destroyed him. Things I will never carry again. In careful handwriting I listed every piece of myself I'd shrunk to keep him comfortable. Apologizing for feelings that were valid, letting someone else measure my worth, staying quiet when I should have roared, letting a third person camp out in a relationship built for two. And at the very bottom, centered and underlined, losing you hurt, losing myself hurt worse. He covered his mouth. Tears filled his eyes and spilled over. For a long time he couldn't even speak. When he finally could, his voice was shattered. Sarah, I didn't know. I didn't realize I made you feel like this. You never asked, I said softly. You trusted her voice more than mine. He set the pages down like they were fragile. I'll cut me off completely. I'll go to therapy. I'll prove it every single day. Just tell me what you need. That old part of me wanted to reach out and comfort him. But I'd finally climbed out of the fire. I wasn't walking back in. Ethan, I said gently, you're not a bad guy. But you're not the guy who can love me the way I deserve. He shook his head, frantic. Please don't say that. I can change. I believe you can, I told him. But I'm not sticking around to watch. The background noise of the coffee shop disappeared. Between us sat 17 pages that were already part of my past, but only just becoming his new reality. I stood up. I gave you everything I had. And the second someone whispered doubt, you let go without a fight. I'm so sorry, he choked out. I know, I whispered. That's the worst part. I left the letters on the table and walked to the door. He called after me, voice breaking. Sarah, what am I supposed to do with all this? I paused, looked back, and met his tear-filled eyes. Learn from it, I said quietly. And next time someone loves you that much, don't let anyone else make the call. He collapsed into the chair, clutching the pages like they were the only thing left of us. I stepped outside. The evening air felt brand new. For the first time in forever, I wasn't carrying anyone else's weight. I wasn't because he left, I was light because I finally put myself first. A couple days later, Jordan asked if I regretted giving Ethan the letters. Not even a little, I said. He needed to read the truth, and I needed to stop carrying it. Jordan grinned. Think he'll ever get over it? I smiled. Maybe. But regret tends to stick around a lot longer than love does. And as I walked home that night, one thing felt crystal clear. Being labeled a red flag by someone who never really knew me? That doesn't define me. Listening to her? That defined him. Choosing me, that's what defines me now. And that's a gift he'll never have to understand.